Well, this morning, I think that we were there were just some of us that were kind of joking around, well, after tonight when this was even before the race even started this morning, we were kind of joking around, like, what if we made finals, and we convinced everyone to wear a brief, and then sure enough, like, me and Michael Alexandrov made finals, and we started like, yeah, let's do it. And then Mike recruited some people, and I talked to Robert Margalis, and he recruited the guys from his team, and then we just made sure that we had, we let everyone know and just told them that this is what we wanted to do, and everyone kind of fell into it, and it was, I don't know, just kind of something fun to end the meet on, just because it's the last meet of the summer, and it was the last event of this long meet, and it was just kind of just something to make it fun and just to race each other kind of in a pure form.
So, did the other finalists react pretty positively to the?
It was interesting. We talked to kind of everyone's coaches at first. Like we talked to Harvey from Georgia, and we talked to Salo from USC, and they all kind of thought it was a cool idea, something new to try and do, and just kind of they got the ball rolling, and we talked to all the swimmers, and there were a few that might have been a little reluctant at first, but I think once everyone jumped in on it and realized that it could be a lot of fun, that everyone kind of was really excited and looking forward to doing it. So.
When's the last time you swam in a brief in the championship meet?
We raced them in the collegiate season, but the last time I wore one rested, I was probably 12 years old, so it's been a solid decade, I'd say.
Was it difficult to step up and race in a final in a brief? Because you're used to, even before these super suits that everyone talks about, swimming in like pro legs, FS2 legs, things like that. Was it a little more difficult? Or?
It was definitely, that was probably one of the hardest 200 IMs I've done in the past 4 or 5 years, to be honest. But I think that as we kind of stripped down before the race started and the crowd started going crazy, I think all of us, I remember looking over at Alexandrov in lane 1, and he had this huge smile on his face, and he's looking at me, and I just looked back and I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely worth it. So, but it was definitely different. It's kind of, I wouldn't say that anyone really changed their race strategy because of it, but I think it definitely affects your race in a very different way. I remember I hit the 100 going into the breaststroke, and I was hurting quite a bit more than I usually was at that point. So, but it was interesting to say the least.
So are you excited for the suit change in January?
Yes and no. I finally found something that worked for me this summer and decided to start wearing legs instead of a full body, and so I was kind of excited that I finally found something, but at the same time, I think that it'll be good to go back to something that's kind of more truer to each individual swimmer and kind of making it standardized across the field instead of having people wearing different suits and constantly having to find what else is new and find the best new thing out there. It just eliminates the hassle of doing that. I think it'll make it a lot just less complicated and more about focusing on your racing instead of the newest and greatest and latest technology.
You read articles and you see things like so-and-so went 154.1 in a laser, or someone went 46.9 in an X Glide. What does the 2015 in a brief tell you about where you're at?
Well, I was 57.7 in the trials 3 weeks ago, and to be honest, I went from wearing a laser last summer where I went 2020, and then to wearing an arena suit this summer and dropping over 4 seconds in a 200. So to 57.7, and now I'm back to 2015. So at least I'm faster in a brief than I was in a laser legs. So that's a positive. But I think that I think doing this also happens to put a lot of the past races, like the past great races of previous swimmers and generations, kind of in perspective. The fact that if I'm wearing a brief, I can go 2015. Well, you think that the meet record here is Phelps' 159, and Lord knows what suit he was wearing when he did that. Maybe a pro, maybe anything, and it just kind of puts all all those old swims like Dolan's 200s, and just kind of lets you really see how you compare to those guys. And I think that's kind of cool actually to see where you are in comparison to the legacies of our sport. So,
Jack, congratulations.
Thanks.
Crowd loved it.
It was a lot of fun. It was definitely worth it.
That was real cool.
So,
thank you.
Thanks.